Today on NewsWatch, the Islamic State might be losing land in Syria and Iraq, but its influence is growing in other parts of the world. We'll show you where. Plus, Mike Pence shows his conservative credentials. Hear the latest from the Republican vice presidential hopeful on Benghazi, the economy, and the Iran deal. And a journey of hope, how churches are training members to minister to their brothers and sisters fighting cancer. Thanks for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm Caitlin Burke. The Islamic terror group ISIS is losing strategic strongholds in Syria and Iraq. But despite the losses, ISIS is spreading around the world, and its capabilities are becoming deadlier and more frequent. President Obama met with his top military and national security officials Thursday and says the West should prepare for more attacks. George Thomas has more.
The president says while ISIS has been losing land in Iraq and Syria, the group is working on inspiring and launching terrorist attacks around the world.
In fact, the decline of ISIL in Syria and Iraq appears to be causing it to shift to tactics that we've seen before, an even greater emphasis on encouraging high-profile terrorist attacks.
And part of that shift is to target Europe. German-born Harry Sarfo, a former ISIS fighter now in prison, told the New York Times that the terror group is instructing European jihadis not to come to Syria anymore, but instead stay home and launch waves of attacks in Britain, Germany, and France.
Even as we need to crush ISIL on the battlefield, their military defeat will not be enough. So long as their twisted ideology persists and drives people to violence, then groups like ISIL will keep emerging.
And it appears ISIS attacks are getting deadlier, more destructive, and more frequent. A new report from the House Homeland Security Committee found that since 2014, there have been 1,600 plus casualties from ISIS-related attacks against the West, the majority of them carried out by independent followers.
As we've seen, it is still very difficult to detect and prevent lone actors or small cells of terrorists who are determined to kill the innocent and are willing to die.
ISIS claimed responsibility for a number of mass killings recently, including a truck attack in Nice, France, that left 84 dead, and the nightclub shooting in Orlando, Florida, that killed 49 people. Terror experts say these and other attacks show that their long-held goal to spread beyond Syria and Iraq is becoming a reality. More than 2 years after U.S. and coalition forces started military operations against ISIS, the threat from the radical Islamic group is expanding throughout the world. NBC News obtained a map from the president's own National Counterterrorism Center showing ISIS branches now operating in 18 other countries, leading the center's director to make this stark assessment. The array of terrorist actors around the globe is broader, wider, and deeper than it has ever been at any time since September 11, 2001. It is fair to say that we face more threats originating in more places and involving more individuals than we have at any time in the past 15 years. George Thomas, CBN News.
Israel's internal security agency says a Hamas operative infiltrated the Christian relief organization World Vision in Gaza. Israel says the man, who was a manager, siphoned off more than $40 million for the terrorist group Hamas. Much of the money was donated by Christians around the world. Israel said 60% of the Gaza budget was used to purchase rockets, dig tunnels to attack Israel, and fund other Hamas military projects. In a statement, World Vision said it was shocked by the charges against its manager. World Vision also rejected any involvement in any political, military, or terrorist activities. An Israeli security source said World Vision may not be the only humanitarian aid organization deceived by Hamas. The terrorist who started the Boko Haram group in sub-Saharan Africa says he's still the leader. The Islamic State on Wednesday announced they had picked a new leader for the group. But Abu Bakr Shekau says he's not going anywhere. The announcement reveals the internal conflict in the terror group. Shekau criticized the new leader, calling him an infidel preaching false creeds because he's promised to end attacks on mosques and Muslim markets, a hallmark of Boko Haram. How can Republicans get Donald Trump to focus on their message? And what about that $400 million cash payment made to Iran on the same day Americans were released? GOP Vice Presidential nominee Governor Mike Pence addressed those issues during campaign stops in Virginia Thursday. One of his rallies was right here on the CBN campus at Founders Inn. Gary Lane was there and brings us the story.
The Republican vice presidential candidate knew his audience, and it didn't take long for him to acknowledge those who serve in a region of the country where the military and national defense dominate.
Would those who've worn the uniform of the United States of America please stand up and allow us to say thank you one more time for your service to this country?
Pence talked about the U.S. economy, saying it only grew by 1.2% during the last quarter. Under President Obama, the country is experiencing its weakest economic recovery since 1949.
They say it's the best we can do. But Donald Trump and I know this. It's not the best we can do. It's just the best they can do.
He criticized Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton for the way she handled the terrorist attack in Benghazi.
After 4 Americans fell, Hillary Clinton said, "What difference at this point does it make?" Well, let me say, as a proud father of a United States Marine, let me say from my heart, anyone who said that, anyone who did that should be disqualified from ever serving as Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the United States of America.
Virginia is a key battleground state, and that's why Hillary Clinton chose Senator Tim Kaine to be her running mate. But I talked to the Republican Party chairperson for the state of Virginia. He says that's not going to make a difference.
Kaine is not going to do anything for her anywhere else in the country, and frankly, not here in Virginia. He's seen as a failed governor. Unemployment went way up. We lost tens of thousands of manufacturing jobs when Kaine was governor.
After the rally, I asked Governor Pence about the Obama administration's $400 million payment to Iran on the same day 4 Americans were freed in Tehran.
I think in doing that, they put a price tag on the head of every American overseas. Iran is the leading state sponsor of terrorism in the world. Giving them currency that they can make available to other terrorist organizations jeopardizes American citizens and jeopardizes our allies.
I also asked about reported Republican Party disunity and his endorsement of U.S. House Speaker Paul Ryan.
As Donald Trump said, he's not there yet, but I really believe as time
coming?
goes on, I believe as time goes on, you're going to see these two men come together and work together.
Some Republicans say Trump needs to work harder, limiting his comments to Hillary Clinton's record and his plans to bring about change from the Obama years.
How do you get him on message?
Well, look, Donald Trump is a man who has spoken from his heart and from his mind from the very outset of this campaign. And he's made a connection with the American people, the likes of which I haven't seen since the days of Ronald Reagan.
But Ronald Reagan was also a former actor who stuck to the script. And some in the GOP worry that getting Trump to do the same while still allowing Trump to be Trump may be the Republicans' biggest challenge in the days ahead. Gary Lane, CBN News, Virginia Beach, Virginia.
Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump says ministers should be able to speak out about politics without jeopardizing their church's tax-exempt status. At a rally in Florida, he pledged to eliminate the IRS ban on pulpit politics. That ban muzzles churches and other tax-exempt organizations from supporting or opposing political candidates. Trump calls the prohibition a violation of free speech. This week, we told you about the Satanic Temple pushing for after-school Satan clubs for kids. Now, an attorney for Child Evangelism Fellowship is fighting back, defending school districts from the effort. Liberty Council Chairman Matt Staver is calling the Satanic Temple's goal disruptive rather than educational, and parents aren't happy about the proposal either.
We have enough problems in the world to encourage the kids to actually take on this kind of attitude and demeanor. Is just absolutely not acceptable. Satan, his thing is evil, and evil is the absence of good and love, and we're trying to encourage goodness and love in our children, especially at Still Elementary and other schools in around this area.
Staver says Liberty Council will defend districts from possible legal action. He adds that parental permission is required for children to participate in after-school clubs, and he doubts that many parents would let their children join Satan clubs. Churches are being targeted by thieves in one Oklahoma town. At least 13 churches in Enid have been robbed since early July.
We take the victimization of our local churches very seriously. During most of these burglaries, they're looking specifically for money, and so they're targeting the office area of the churches.
4 churches were robbed this week alone. The thieves kicking in doors, stealing bank bags, lock boxes, and safes. Police in Enid are asking for the public's help to stop the burglary spree. Coming up, what not to say when someone has cancer. See how one group is teaching churches to minister life to cancer patients after this. It's a word no one wants to hear, cancer. Yet statistics show half of all men and a third of all women will get some form of the disease. In many cases, people simply suffer in silence as they try to cope with their illness. Now, as Lori Johnson reports, an organization is teaching churches how to help cancer patients.
Hello, Sheila. Hi, how are you, dear?
Doing well.
Good to see you.
After years of counseling cancer patients, Reverend Percy McCrae knows they bear a burden unlike people fighting other illnesses.
Psychologically and emotionally, cancer patients, particularly people of faith, are struggling with their faith at that point. What did I do wrong? Is there something that I did that caused God to punish me?
Thanks to his training, Reverend McCrae knows the importance of encouragement. Then one conversation helped him realize others need to learn these skills too.
The patient shared with me that they were impacted more by the pastoral care support that they received at the bedside of our hospital than they did at their local church.
Typically, churches are very effective when it comes to helping people with all kinds of problems like financial or marital, but often fall short when it comes to dealing with health care issues.
Especially cancer.
And therefore, they really struggle with what do I say, when do I say it, how do I say it? And so what happens, one of the number one dynamics that takes place with the cancer patient and their caregiver is that they begin to feel a sense of isolation and that people begin to avoid them altogether.
To bridge this gap, Reverend McCrae and his associates at the Cancer Treatment Centers of America approached churches about teaching their members how to minister to their brothers and sisters with cancer. It's called Our Journey of Hope.
Cancer Treatment Centers of America offers free training for 2 people from a church who use what they learn here to raise up cancer ministries in their home congregations.
Participants learn the basics of the disease and treatments in order to focus on what it's like for the patient. An added incentive for churches, the training, food, lodging, even the course materials are all free.
We did not want to limit the ability to have the average church receive this training because of lack of resources.
LaWanda Long attended the seminar years ago and now passes on what she learned to volunteers at Atlanta's Enon Baptist Church.
When we announced we were going to start this ministry, I want to say we started out with 12 to 15 folk, and all of them had a personal relationship with cancer. Either they were a cancer survivor or a caregiver of a cancer patient.
She teaches volunteers 1 night a week for 8 weeks to prepare them to meet with cancer patients in their church.
Sometimes people don't know what to say for those who's battling with cancer. Sometimes they may say, oh, I have a loved one who had cancer. They had that same symptom and they died. Wrong thing to say. I think the main thing we're trying to train people is to have empathy, to listen, to not try to fix it, but just to be there, to realize that God is everywhere and God will have a witness in every situation.
So far, the ministry's a success.
A lot of times people don't understand the impact cancer does to a family and to a person. It's more than just a physical detriment. It attacks their spirit and attacks their soul.
Lisa McDermott remembers suffering through 5 months of chemotherapy for breast cancer.
With me, it was strictly fatigue. I just could not get off the couch, just down.
She asked the cancer ministry for help with daily needs.
It makes a real difference when you're just too sick to do anything. You don't feel well, you don't want to do the dishes, you don't want to get up, you don't want, you've got groceries to get, you don't want to go drive anywhere, so it's a great ministry.
Lisa dealt with one main point person who recruited others to pitch in.
Everything makes a difference. People, phone calls, cards, letters, just to know that people are thinking about me, praying for me, caring about me.
The cancer ministry made such an impression that Lisa wanted to get the training.
We put packages together for everyone that we find out about, that's referred to us, care packages for them all. I got one too. It was very, very nice. All kinds of things in the little care package, books and journals and socks to keep warm and just hats, all kinds of things, just beautiful things, jewelry.
As Nefertiti Dixon's mother fought ovarian and colon cancer, the ministry stepped in.
Oh goodness, words can't explain. They were awesome. Just when you think you're by yourself, you're not.
Although her mom lost her fight, the cancer ministry made those final days easier.
Helping just around the house, food, things that my mom needs. She would need errands ran, medicine. Sometimes she just wanted to have someone to sit with her and talk, just companionship.
They also helped Nefertiti, who, as a working mom with 2 children, became overwhelmed with the pressure of caring for her sick mother. So while cancer will likely continue to strike far too many, churches now can choose to help those dealing with the disease. Lori Johnson, CBN News.
Up next, Plugged In Online calls it profane and occultic. Find out which film they're talking about and what you need to know before heading to the movies. Another big superhero flick is hitting the big screen, but you might want to think twice about heading to the movies this weekend. For some family-friendly reviews, our Ephraim Graham spoke with Bob Waszewski from Plugged In Online. Check it out.
Bob, Suicide Squad promises to be a big hit at the box office. What'd you think of it?
You know, all these superhero type movies, or most of them, have been hits at the box office. You know, you think if you have a Superman or a Batman or a Spider-Man or Avengers or even the very profane Deadpool, they seem to do well. People go. So it's inevitable that DC Comics storyline Suicide Squad would end up making to the big screen. Essentially, the plot is this. A bureaucrat for the U.S. government gets this brainstorm. What if we get the most foulest, fiercest, super bad guys and bring them together to fight for the U.S. government to take on, well, we don't know for sure, but there's bound to be some kind of supernatural baddie out there that it will be prepared for. Now, why would the bad guys even agree to this? Well, they're locked up in maximum security prison cells. Maybe 10 years off their sentence would convince them. And that's essentially the plot in a nutshell. But I'll say we only gave this film a 2 out of 5 for family friendliness. It's quite profane. It's quite occultic. It's quite sensual. It is not family friendly. And by the way, even from an entertainment point of view, Rotten Tomatoes has the critics basically panning, saying it's mumbled, it's jumbled, it's messy, it's noisy, it's not cohesive. So I think people will still go, but I'm not recommending it.
Ouch. Okay,
Ouch.
So we didn't get to talk to you last week about the new Jason Bourne film. How's that one?
You know, it came in at number 1 over the weekend with 60 million. That's not surprising. It is the 5th Bourne film, the 4th with Matt Damon. I felt like, now again, from an entertainment point of view, I felt like I'd seen this movie before. Essentially, you know, Damon has been learning throughout the films that he's been part of this CIA super assassin program that's kind of wiped his memory clean, and he just kind of learns little tidbits. We gave this one just a 2.5 out of 5 for family friendliness. Again, bloody violence, quite messy there, and 4 misuses of our Savior's name, which is never excusable. No one says, "Oh Buddha" or "Oh Confucius." It's always the name of the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords in these when they take someone's name, and don't get that, and certainly knocked it down because of it.
Gotcha. There's also a sci-fi thriller in theaters now called Nerve. Looks like it's geared partly for teenagers. Should they see it?
You know, this one I liked for about half of the film because it was so much out of the box, so much better than, say, Jason Bourne. Like I said, Jason Bourne, I felt like we'd already seen it. This one, Nerve, we hadn't. It's kind of think of Pokemon Go on multiple steroids. So teens are playing a video game, and you can either be a player or a watcher. What's the video game? The game is a truth or dare without the truth. And people dare each other to do something. Will they do it? If they do it, they get to stay in the game. They get money in their bank account and they move up to another level. Or you can pay to watch other people take these dares. But here's the kind of dares they do, like hanging from one hand on a crane about 20 stories above the ground and do that for, I think, 10 seconds. And then there's one where you ride a motorcycle blindfolded with the person behind you through red lights, through traffic, is trying to direct you. You lay down on a subway track and let a subway train go over the top of you. It just seems to me it's begging for copycat. I hope it never happens. And so far, I've not heard word that it has. But it brings caution. Add to that sensual visuals, sensual dialogue, and quite a bit of language. And even though it was a better story, at least for half of the film, it was not a more family-friendly story than a Jason Bourne, and we gave it a mere 2 out of 5 for family friendliness.
Gotcha. Real quick, anything family-friendly in theaters right now that might be geared towards younger audiences?
Yeah, they've been out a while, but if people haven't seen it, looking for something to take the kids to, Secret Life of Pets has potential. The new Ice Age film has potential. And although Finding Dory has now been in theaters for 2 months, it's still in theaters, and it certainly has potential.
Indeed. All right, Bob, thank you so much.
You bet. We'll talk next week.
CBN's Orphans Promise is reaching out to kids from poor and at-risk families in Armenia this summer. 700 children and youth across the country are being given a chance to have fun at a camp they would otherwise never be able to afford. Along with games and good food, they're also learning Bible stories and are being told about Christ. Over the past 5 years, hundreds of children have come to know the Lord while receiving an education at 4 centers supported by Orphans Promise. You can find out more about what CBN is doing around the world by going to cbn.com/international. That's it for now on CBN NewsWatch. You can find more of our exclusive coverage of the issues you care about most at cbnnews.com. And tell us what you think about the stories you've seen here. You can do that on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We hope you'll join us next time. Have a great day.